So today we're going to talk about proper care of your GT350. There's a lot of misinformation out here about these vehicles. You know, a lot of people say that they don't want them because, you know, they feel that they have, you know, extremely bad oil consumption issues, things like that. Admittedly, they do have some oil consumption issues, but if you properly break in your vehicle and, you know, maintain it properly, which we're going to discuss, you're not going to have those oil consumption issues. Okay. First, let's talk about what the owner's manual says. You know, the owner's manual says that there's a 100-mile break-in period for these vehicles. 100 miles ain't shit. You know, and I'm gonna tell you now, if you listen to the owner's manual with that, you're gonna have oil consumption issues. You know, through the research that I've done, the people who have the most, and this is the vast majority of people who have those oil consumption issues, did not actually do what I recommend, a 1,000-mile break-in period. Okay. The people that I've spoken to, like on forums and, you know, like Facebook, things like that, that have done the proper 1,000-mile break-in procedure do not have oil consumption issues, such as myself, right? And I'm at, you know, about 4,000 miles. Hold on one second. So with that break-in, this is what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to drive your vehicle. And I always recommend, if you're gonna get a GT350, get it brand fucking new, right? Because you don't know who had it before, you don't know what kind of break-in they did, and you also don't know what the dealership has allowed. Especially if it's a used vehicle, the dealership's probably gonna allow, you know, the salesmen and everyone else to kind of drive the vehicles, and they're probably smashing out in this shit, you know, not taking care of it properly, okay? But a proper 1,000-mile break-in period is going to include you driving your vehicle at varying loads, all right, but not going over 4,000 RPM, okay? What that means, varying loads, is that means you're not going to throw on cruise control because it's going to remain at the same load, all right? You're going to, every now and then, like when you accelerate, you can accelerate, you know, hard, and I say that in quotes. You know, you can accelerate hard, but just make sure you're not going above 4,000 RPM, you know, which is gonna suck. I mean, it definitely sucks, you know, and especially when it's a brand new vehicle, you know, you're excited about having the shit, you know, it's difficult, and I'm definitely talking from experience, all right? But generally speaking, you don't wanna go over 4,000 RPM, and you wanna do that for 1,000 miles, right? And that's gonna allow everything, you know, to basically seat, you know. You know, it's a brand new engine, and I don't care about any, you know, anyone saying, oh, you know, listen to Ford and listen to the manual and they break in the engines beforehand. I don't care about any of that shit, all right? And I'm talking from experience because I don't have any oil consumption issues. And if I wasn't holding this fucking camera, which I know isn't safe, but if I wasn't holding this fucking camera, you know, I'd be smashing out in this thing. Like, I beat the shit out of my car. You know, I drive it like it's supposed to be driven, you know, and I don't have any oil consumption issues at all. And there's plenty of us out here who don't have oil consumption issues either. So instead of listening to the Ford and these techs who actually probably don't even own GT350s themselves, you know, listen to people who have the experience, all right? So once that 1,000-mile break-in procedure is done, the most important thing to ensure that you do not have any oil consumption issues is to ensure that your vehicle is warm before, you know, I would say before going over 3,000 RPM. And this is every day, all right? So such as today, you know, I started the car, it was cold, I'm able to drive it, but I'm not going over 3,000 RPM. I'm going slow as shit, you know, but I'm not going over 3,000 RPM because you need to let the vehicle warm up. And when I say warm up, I'm not talking about the coolant temperature, all right? And that's the gauge right there. That's gonna get to the middle, you know, the prime operating temperature, quote unquote, very fucking quickly, all right? What I'm talking about is the actual oil temperature. All right. Now, you can find it on here as well, right? So oil temperature right now about 153 degrees. It's cold as shit. It's like 20-something degrees out here. I'm in Indiana. So, you know, it's not, you know, gonna really get too much higher than that, all right? But I wouldn't ever accelerate quickly or put this vehicle under extreme loads unless I'm at a very minimum of 150 degrees oil temperature. And preferably, you know, I like being over 160, but I just know it's cold as shit this morning, all right? So that oil temperature is making sure you have that proper lubricant, you know, make sure the oil is at the proper viscosity, I should say, you know, before, you know, putting it under that load, all right? So these engines, you know, go to 8250 supposedly RPM, and I say supposedly because, you know, the gauge never seems like it actually goes quite that high, the RPM gauge. But anyway, so they're high revving engines, which means everything is moving very quickly, which means that everything needs to be properly lubricated. Hold on one second. So with that said, you know, make sure, obviously, I mean, if you're checking the oil temperature, you know, often, you're gonna have proper coolant temperature as well, okay? So I wouldn't worry too much about the coolant temperature. Just make sure the oil temperature is proper, all right? Additionally, it's okay, you know, to check your oil every now and then, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you're running E85 like me, when you're running E85, you're gonna have to change your oil a lot more sooner, all right? And that's just good practice there, all right? But you know, check your oil every now and then, you know what I mean? It takes, you know, nothing, you know what I mean? Like if you go to the store, you know, or a gas station or whatever, you know, you let your car sit for 15, you know, you drive it, you let your car sit for 15 minutes, you know, then check your oil. And when I say sit for 15 minutes, you know, that's so the oil can drain back down to the oil pan, all right? So just get those healthy habits, you know what I mean? And how we can actually make sure your engine lasts, you know, it's a, you know, safe, you know, engine, you know what I mean? So, not sure what I was gonna say there, but that's really all I had to talk about today, man. Just a quick little video, you know, while we're driving. If you guys have any video requests, you know, information, things like that, you know, feel free to leave it in the comments. I don't know why I'm saying this shit. I got 1 subscriber right now, but, you know, we'll have more subscribers in the future, all right? Other than that, man, you guys have a good day. All right, appreciate you.